Hey everybody, Clinton here. Just a quick note. Apparently this episode I recorded into a tin can with string. So bear with me, folks. Trust me. Everything else that is not said by me is great.
The Longbox Crusade presents FanFilm Fridays.
Hello and welcome to another episode of FanFilm Fridays. I am, of course, your host, Clinton Robinson, still down here in the basement for whatever reason. Actually, there is a reason today. I have gotten a visitor, a really cool guy that finally got a day off and he wanted to practice his jiu-jitsu moves. And I think I've got enough bruises now that we can take a break. Right, Delvin?
There's not really any break. There's like napping and, applying, certain gels to ease some of the bruising, but, then we're back at it. Because
so you're never not jiu-jitsuing, is what you're saying.
Correct. That is correct. Life is jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is life.
Oh, that's what they meant when they said life is pain.
Well, pretty much. It could be worse, though. You could be locked in the... You know what? Never mind. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Okay, so while I'm attempting to heal here, we can take a few minutes and watch a fan film, right?
Absolutely. Of course. Let's do that.
Cool. So, this Green Lantern dude, right?
I do. He's green, right?
Yeah, part of the time. He's a lantern part of the time, too.
Yep. Brightest day, darkest night, whatnot.
And of course, I'm talking about the coolest Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner.
Yes. He's an artist. No, you're kidding, right? You're not talking about Kyle Rayner.
Well, I mean, probably. No. Yeah, no. I am not talking about Kyle Rayner, not on this show. I am talking about John freaking Stewart.
John Stewart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're familiar with that dude. The guy that was on the cartoons. The ones that, one that like everybody knows. And
the funny thing is, I can't even remember whether I watched that cartoon or not, but you're right. Most people do recognize him for that. The last time, it's been a minute since I've read some Green Lantern. I was collecting it, and I kind of give a thumbs down to my comic book shop who mails me my stuff, because they sent me all of that Green Lantern that was Grant Morrison. That was weird, and I didn't really like it that much. But before that was Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and that was really fun, because even though it was called Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, guess who led the Green Lantern Corps? John Stewart.
Really? Because I was going to say some guy.
Man, no, it was, and I loved, like, John Stewart was tough and charismatic in his own way. Like, I mean, all the Green Lanterns have a certain, especially the Earthbound ones, and Kilowog, of course, has a certain type of charisma going for them. Kyle Rayner, like we mentioned, he's the artist. Hal Jordan is the daredevil, fearless pilot. And you've got John Stewart, who is the Marine. He is the consummate Marine, hardcore, hard-nosed, but tactically sound. Like, you're not going to be able, like, his plans, once he has a plan locked in place, it is airtight. And it is very hard to question his battle prowess. And all of those little personality quirks makes each of them unique. And it certainly makes Jon Stewart an absolute badass.
Well said. Well, would you believe there are Jon Stewart's fan films out there?
Well, yes. Well, only because you showed me one.
Yeah,
and
given the premise of this show and all.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to take a look at one today called In Brightest Day Off. As we said, it's a Jon Stewart Green Lantern fan film uploaded to YouTube by BZ The Voice back in 2021. And it currently sports right around 3,200 views, give or take. Not too shabby for something that's been up a couple of years.
Hey, let's put it this way. If one of our Longbox Crusade shows on the YouTube network ever gets to 3,200 views, I would be over the moon. So yes, I don't think 3,200 views is bad at all.
No. All right. So this is written by B.Z. Cullens and Sean Jackson. It's directed by B.Z. Cullens, and it stars B.Z. Cullens, Nina Fetchner, Robert Wolf, Gary Jacobs, and Dustin Ebal. The film, we'll be honest here, folks. It runs just over 7 minutes, and that's with all the credits. So it's definitely not going to take a big chunk out of your day, but I do still encourage you to go in, watch it, all that fun stuff, because Delvin and I are kind of going to spoil this a lot.
A lot.
And since it runs right around 7 minutes, I'm not going to really be able to fit a trailer in here, so you'll be able to enjoy a little bit of music here in just a moment. So, check the show notes, click the link, watch the film several times. Let's get it up to about 3,300 views, can we?
We should. It's definitely worth it. It's worth it, y'all. Go watch it.
Yeah, I think Jared's going to assign it to his next leadership class or something.
Did you know that he has a leadership course? He instructs that. I don't know if you knew that or not.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Everybody back? Good. Alrighty, so it's a normal day in the life of Green Lantern Jon Stewart, with the exception that today is his day off. He's even penciled it on the calendar. It's official. Are we sure this isn't mirroring your life, Delvins? You got that calendar. Never mind.
What calendar? I don't have any calendar.
Oh, well, it's the one I hung up for you on the door over.
Oh, that calendar?
Yeah, just ignore that it says 1987.
Oh, yeah. It eventually is going to be right again. So it's good.
All right. So Jon starts the day by getting in some exercise and making some breakfast. And he manages to ignore the constant JLA phone calls. He even manages to wash his car and catch a nap on the sofa. A phone call from Green Arrow wakes Jon just in time for Hot Girl to swing by with some takeout for a dinner date. Too bad that gets interrupted by a phone call from John Diggle. Seems there's big trouble brewing in Star City. Looks like it's time for action. Some brothers just can't ever catch a break.
Ain't that the truth?
And that is In Brightest Day Off. Aren't you glad you watched it, folks? Because I would have hated to have spoiled all that for you before you saw it.
I tell you what, Clinton, I was watching it, and first, for some reason, I didn't catch the full title, In Brightest Day Off, but I caught on pretty quickly. And then it was probably the most intriguing thing. I'm like, oh, hey, hot girl. How you doing? Yeah, I would not have picked up that phone. I don't care who was calling. Mm-hmm. It's Superman and Metropolis is on fire. It's like, it can wait. You're Superman. It's good. You're good. I'll have been in Time Machine, but I got something going on right now, and it's pretty hot. Pretty important. I want to have sex with hot girl.
You're not lying.
Dude, she was foxy, and I will go on to other less lewd and lascivious details. I liked the Green Lantern guy. I thought he was well cast. I liked the little workout that he did.
That dude was buff.
Yeah, dude was in good shape, like, and conventionally good shape, like, and not like steroidy posing for Instagram good shape. Just a dude who looked like he was in good shape. So sometimes you'll see, like the famous X-Men comics where they're playing baseball and stuff like that. So sometimes you see the heroes on their day off, but I like this idea as a short that the man just wanted to have one day. I mean, come on, he had like 2 weeks on and one day off.
Yeah.
Like that's not fair. Like, come on. I mean, that's more than blue collar workers do. I guess green collar workers work more than blue collar workers.
Oh man, and the dude didn't even want to do anything like super special. He literally did his exercise routine and his chores.
Yep. Man, I went out to a birthday dinner with two of my good buddies here in Charlotte. And one of them is married like I am, but also has a toddler. So his son Archer is about a year and a half now. And so, starting to, be able to do some cool stuff and whatnot. But of course, toddler. So you got to do more maintenance. And by the way, he's balancing like a bachelor's degree that he's trying to get done. And he's doing the normal 9-to-5 job. So my man is busy. And I say all that to say, we kind of were talking. It's like, you know what? Like we all, even me, I don't have kids, just my wife and me and my other single buddy, Phil. Like we all would like trade a lot for 5 days of nothing to do. 120 straight hours, Clinton. Can you imagine that?
A long time since I had that.
What would you do for 120 straight hours of like, you have no obligation to anybody. You don't have to work. You don't have to worry about your kiddos. Man.
Well, some people get themselves trapped in a basement. That's beside the point.
Right. I'm speaking, if you're not in complete solitary already, but like just in general, like you are a normal human under normal circumstances, you can imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. That's one of those, like, when people are like, would you punch your mama in the face for $1 million? And you're like, I can always say sorry. She'll be like, cut me in for half. Let's go.
Man, Mom would understand, but I couldn't do it. Not Mama.
Oh.
I could not hit Mom in the face.
Yeah,
I could not do that.
I exaggerate. I could, but
I do. Yeah. Let's see. What else is there worth talking about of that film? The guy was in good shape. I found it funny. His buddies wanted to play basketball with him, mm-hmm. And there were two dudes, and one guy had on a Michael Jordan jersey. And another guy had on a Richard Hamilton jersey. Like, come on. Like, you got to do better than that. Do you know who Richard Hamilton? Are you a sports fan?
I am not.
Who Richard Hamilton is?
Clue me in, Delvin. Clue me in.
So Rip Hamilton mainly played for the Detroit Pistons, and they did win a world title with him as one of the leaders of the team. That said, you would have to be an NBA player to know who Richard Hamilton is. You just wouldn't know. But Michael Jordan, yes. So I get the feeling that guy was just an enormous Detroit Pistons fan in order for him to be wearing that. And it was still cool that he got to be a part of the video.
I love the fact, though, like they're clearly in their late 30s, early 40s. And they're like, let's go down to the playground and school these kids.
Yeah. I tell you what, the last basketball game I played, I was 37, and I'm actually mortified to play basketball at 45. I think that I would tear every ACL that I have in my body. So all I'm saying is I don't think that any 30-some-odd, unless you are just one of those just road dogs that did nothing but play and play and play and play. But if you do it casually, it's hard keeping up with the young kids, man. I marvel nowadays at how, because I would play basketball when I was in college. When Jared met me, I played basketball all the time. And I could play basketball for hours and go to bed, barely sleep a few hours, and then come back and play the next day. Absolutely okay. I can't do that now. I would die. Jiu-jitsu notwithstanding.
Yeah, I could run up and down the court in middle school. That was more of a by necessity thing.
Yeah, like back then, men of our age, like we didn't have any choice of sitting out. They would fail you. You had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like you had your choice of PE. It was literally, okay, in the fall, we play basketball. In the spring, we play baseball.
But you were playing something.
Yeah. Either way, you're going to run.
Yes, sir.
Do you notice John got to chill with a book for a little bit?
Yes. I like his choice of book, too. Of course, I'm going to blank on what it's called. It had something to do with being a brother, but I can't remember what the book was called.
It's called So You Want to Talk About Race.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that sometimes in the comic book, I wouldn't say they make Jon Stewart bland as far as his race goes, but especially considering that since he is he is an earther and he's in, in charge of like the 3,600 sectors of the universe, being an African American amongst that contingency isn't special. But in the case of a short like this, maybe it is. And so if he had a time to sit there and relax, maybe that's something that Jon Stewart would do. So I thought that was a pretty cool touch.
I mean, it's not like they hung no pun intended. They didn't hang a lantern on, but they did make a point. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And sometimes you need to hammer a point home. But sometimes if you just kind of put like a little subtle message in there, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was ham-handed or hacky or over the top. I just thought it was kind of cool. Like, you know what? I just want to sit down and read this book. I've been trying to read this book for 5 months, and I've had to fight Sinestro 18 times since then, and the Black Hand, and didn't get a chance to. And now I just get a chance to sit down and just chill and read this book. I liked it.
Yeah. And one thing we didn't really mention, this is a black cast. It's not a huge amount of people, but I'm not sure about the dude that did Green Arrow's voice, if he's, you don't ever actually see him, but everybody else in the cast is a person of color, and I'm really appreciative of this.
For a couple of reasons. I mean, one, it's cool to see something minority owned coming out there. They spent their money on it and whatnot. But for someone like me, I've never thought that I was alone in a universe or anything, being a black guy who reads comic books or anything like that, or had an admiration for comic books, because as my brother will tell me now, my brother's 4 years older than me, Clinton, and what he would tell me is, like, when I started getting into comic books, he sort of scoffed at it. He never like teased me or made fun of it, but like was indifferent to it. And then he told me years later, Clinton, that like if I weren't around, he'd go and read my comic books. So it's cool to see that there are, I mean, you know how it is. Like sometimes, like, think of any number of things just besides fan films or comic books that you like. And of course, you and I have that in common, and you have that in common with several people, Longbox Crusade and other podcasters. But maybe there's that thing you like that's like a little niche, and sometimes you just wonder whether or not you're the only one that's like that. And of course, the answer is no, but you hadn't found that tribe of people. And when you find them, it's really, really cool because you already have something in common. And so you're already predisposed to being friends. So I would like to think if I met these guys that and gal who old girl who did Hawk Girl, that we could have something in common. And it'd be like, man, I tell them the first thing I say is, man, that short was awesome. I really appreciated watching that. And like, do you guys have more? Because I love to watch them too. And hopefully that would spark a cool conversation.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that, because there is a second one. It's called In Blackest Night Out.
I like the idea of that already.
Yeah. And apparently it's intended that they're going to do a whole trilogy. Okay.
So what you've got to do then is, like, I'm inviting myself back, Clinton.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got to, if I would love to cover that, and that would give me an excuse to not only watch it, but to watch it and to talk about it with you. I would love to do that.
Exactly. This is what it's all about, folks. Everybody coming together, having fun, talking about fan films, all the stuff we love.
Absolutely. Never letting you out of the basement. I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
Nothing. I said watching fan films, having a good time. I was just echoing what you said.
I thought so. That's right. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know that we can actually, like, do highs, lows, because for it to be 7 minutes of a dude just enjoying his day, it's on paper, it sounds like a low, but it's all highs from the moment that alarm clock goes off to the credits rolling.
No, we don't have to go through highs and lows. I mean, other than what we've already done, because I just think that it's a slice of life, and it's like something that you're never going to see a comic book on. You're not even going to see an annual about, but it can be something that people might just sit around. It's like, man, do these dudes ever get a day off? And if so, what do they do on their day off? So, yeah, I liked the idea of it. And I think that it was just a cool way to show love and appreciation for a character that these guys and girls obviously have an affectation for.
Definitely. I would say this is even pretty friendly to anybody who's really even not all that familiar with Green Lantern, because, I mean, there's not a whole lot of, like, Green Lantern lore going on. Like you said, it's really just a superhero having some downtime.
Yep. And one more cool thing, before we stop, it was cool how his eyes were always green. That was a great effect. Yes. And it was also cool that he had his ring. I thought the ring effect that they had, that was glowing green too. Both of those were very, very cool effects. And I'm sure somebody smart and knows how to, do it. It's like, oh, that's easy. You do this, this, and that. But for a guy like me who has no idea how to do any of that cinematography, I thought it was very, very cool.
Oh, yeah. Here I am down in this basement for 6 months, 17 years. I don't know. But, still learning stuff on editing the audio.
Yep.
So I couldn't even dream of mastering some of the stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure that if you got into it, it might be relatively easy, but sometimes I'm not going to ever be able to know everything about everything. So sometimes it's cool to just have that sense of wonder and see a little bit of movie magic put on the small screen like they did it.
So that pretty well wraps that one up. Delvin, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming down here and tossing me around and putting me in all those locks, and then taking a long enough break to talk about some fan films. So before we get back to it, let everybody know where else they can find you.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter, DEE_RAY1977. You want to find me on Instagram, I'm DELVINRAY, Delvin Ray.
Woo. And what shows do you do here on the network?
Man, what shows do I do on the network? I participate with most of my Longbox Crusade fellows on several shows. Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles, Saturday Matinee Theater, traditional Longbox Crusade. Let's see, am I forgetting one? Probably. I host New Warriors. Come out to play a New Warriors podcast. It's a live stream, but it's also we put it on podcast form. I also host Transformers Chronicles, which has about 40 issues in the bank, close to it anyway. And did I forget anything, Clinton?
I think that's it.
I think that's it too. If not, I forgot.
Except for where else you pop up here and there. Everywhere.
Yeah, here, there, everywhere across Longbox Crusade Network, you might find me. I've done a few shows here and there. I'd encourage you to listen to any of the shows, especially FanFilmFridays.
Well, flattery will get you everywhere down here.
Yes, sir. I know how to butter that bread, Clinton.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna play a quick promo and go take more punishment, and then probably limp back over here with some.
Don't worry, it's all for your own good. Hey, Jared, I have this idea for a new show for the network.
What is it?
You know how I liked the 1990s comic book series, The New Warriors?
Yep.
And you know how at the Longbox Crusade we're trying to get the YouTube channel going?
Yes, also correct.
Well, thanks. So, how about you and me do a live stream show about the New Warriors? You've never read the books before, and I have them, and so that's a great setup. We could give it a catchy name like Come Out to Play. Don't you think that's the greatest idea?
Sure, Delvin. That's a great idea. Just one question.
Yeah?
Why do you have me dangling off this ledge, holding me by only one arm?
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll get it soon. I hope. Come Out to Play, a New Warriors podcast, comes to you live on YouTube every second Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Longbox Crusade channel. If you can't watch it there, we replay them on the Longbox Crusade Network podcast feed, available anywhere podcasts can be found. We invite you to come along for the ride, or in other words, New Warriors, come out to play.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is of course the feedback portion of the show. I want to give some thanks again to Delvin for coming down here and hanging out, talking some Green Lantern and sorry, gotta pop my shoulder back in place there. Okay, so before I dive in, a little word of thanks to all the Crusader Club members out there. Thank you so much for donating your time and hard-earned cash for all the access to the Longbox Crusade Network. I do kind of wish, some of that access would be to the basement door, but, for some reason y'all don't want to open. Anyway, thanks again to all the Crusader Club members. And I also want to give thanks to everybody who liked, shared, and retweeted the last episode, which, as a reminder, was Street Fighter High the Musical. We got all the fun social media love from Chris Stados, Jared Albrecht, Jerry Green, Deborah Smith, Weird Warriors Podcast, Superman Radio Revisited, and Jen at True 4K View VP. We didn't get any real comments on it, but, I guess that just pretty much means that Jared and I said everything that needed to be said about it. A little bit of a short feedback portion this time, but that's okay, because everybody's got stuff they got to do with their day. Hopefully today is your brightest day off. And with that, I'll let you get back to relaxing, and hopefully you'll join me again for another Fan Film Friday.
Today you can take your telephone, your cell phone, and you can make a movie on that. And if it's a really cool movie and it's funny and it's dramatic or whatever, you can post it on YouTube.
If you want to make films and you want to tell stories, you can do it.
After all art is experience.
But if you're obsessed with film and you love to tell stories and you love working in that medium, then that'll give you the strength to be persistent.
You know what? Let me get some water. I'm sitting there like, no ice. Come on, I'm a professional at this point by now. Hold on 1 second, Clinton. I won't take long. As long as you never say something that you regret,